Going to call to order our Board of Directors meeting for the Conejo Recreation Park District for June. Actually, it says, I'm looking at the minutes, not the July 17th, 2025, only 1 month off. If you please join me as we pledge the flag, please. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. May we have a roll call, please?
Director Nichols.
Yes.
Director Cusworth. Director Huffer. Director Buss.
Yes.
Director Orozco.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Next item is special presentations, and we have a special presentation. And Corinne, I'm going to ask you if you join us at the podium to kind of kick things off for us and introduce our special presentation person. Thank you. Or persons, however many you have for us.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I'm Corinne Rakowski, and I'm the Recreation Coordinator at the Therapeutic Recreation Unit. I'm excited to be here this evening with the Wolpert family to present the Grayson R. Wolpert Memorial Scholarship awardees. I'd now like to invite Skylar Wolpert up to the podium to give a brief introduction of the Grayson R. Wolpert Memorial Foundation and Scholarship.
Hi, everyone. As Corinne mentioned, my name is Skylar Wolpert, and for all intents and purposes, I am in charge of the Grayson R. Wolpert Memorial Fund. And Grayson was my older sister, but she tragically lost her life in 2009. But her greatest joy in life was volunteering with Therapeutic Parks and Rec. And after she passed, I was 11 years old. So I was not involved in this, but my lovely parents put together a memorial fund in her honor, and it has contributed to Therapeutic Parks and Rec since then. So that has been for the last 15 years. And I myself sit on the board of directors of many mansions. I actually just started my 4th term, and part of my involvement with that has been the scholarship committee, which I've been a part of now for 5 years. And a handful of years ago, I thought, what could be better than extending that scholarship to my sister's memorial fund, which is why we're here today. So we have 3 lovely awardees who have been volunteering with Therapeutic Parks and Rec. And I just hope that they take their volunteer experience and hopefully continue to volunteer, but take those lessons with them for life. So I know my sister would have loved it. So thank you guys so much. And I'm going to invite Corinne back up with me, and we're going to give out these scholarships, which are $1,000 each. Yes.
Very nice.
Thank you, Skylar. So I'm really honored to present the awardees tonight. I was actually a summer camp counselor when Grayson was a volunteer in 2008, so I did know her. But for the awardees tonight, I'm going to call your name and you'll come up to the podium. I'm going to say a few words about you, and then you'll have the opportunity to say some words yourself if you would like. And Skylar will present to you your award. So first, I'd like to invite up Nadia Rosa. You're going to be the first awardee this evening. So Nadia has volunteered close to 300 hours within the community. 50 of those hours have been within the Therapeutic Recreation basketball program specifically. Nadia was involved in multiple clubs and volunteer opportunities at her school, most notably the California State Seal of Civic Engagement program, which led her to creating her own club, the Therapeutic Recreation and Coaching Club, also known as TRAC. TRAC has started to build momentum in volunteer engagement and to raise awareness for people with disabilities. Nadia connected with us through our Thursday night basketball program, specifically through Coach Al, who she reached out to be her mentor. So she had some prior knowledge of being a partner with a VIP soccer program, and she wanted to continue to enrich the lives of people with disabilities. Nadia notes that she grew exponentially while volunteering in the basketball program, adapting her communication styles to the athletes she was working with and increasing her confidence in new social situations. Little by little, she felt more comfortable and saw the confidence in, She felt more comfortable and saw the athletes as friends, learning as much from them as she felt she was teaching the athletes. Nadia notes that the sense of joy that the athletes present and the growth that she saw in them opened her eyes to the impact of the program and how necessary it is for people with disabilities to thrive. Nadia was a valuable asset to the basketball program and a dedicated volunteer. She came back for 2 consecutive years and is also recruiting other classmates through the track club to connect with us for volunteer opportunities. We are excited to have been a part of Nadia's journey, and we wish her the best at Emerson College in the fall, where she will study film, history, and pre-law.
I just wanted to say thank you to the Wolpert family and the board of directors for this scholarship. I'm very grateful to be a recipient of this award. Volunteering for therapeutic recreation has been like such a pleasure. It's such an incredible community that's fostered through this program. And I hope that, it continues and I can, have my club go on even though I'm graduating. And I want to continue my involvement in similar programs in Boston. And yeah, this award will help me a lot as I go to Emerson. It'll help me advance my studies and allow me to further engage in the community, and I'm eternally grateful for that. I want to thank Al and Corinne for being such incredible mentors. I would not have been able to do this and start my club and get as much engagement without them. So yeah, thank you for all your generosity. And I'm very grateful to honor Grayson's passion by following her path through volunteering with the disabled community. So yeah, thank you.
Picture? Oh, yeah. Do you want me in this picture? Yeah. Oh, no, you may sit, yeah. Next, I would like to invite Lauren Andrews to the podium as the second awardee tonight. So over the years, Lauren has volunteered more than 1,500 hours within Conejo Valley community through the National Charity League. Within those 1,500 hours, she has dedicated over 150 hours to the Therapeutic Recreation Unit. Lauren has been awarded the Presidential Volunteer Service Award, both the Bronze and Gold Award, maintains a 4.5 GPA. She is an AP scholar, a scholar athlete, and has received other awards within National Charity League for her volunteer service. When Lauren first started volunteering with the Therapeutic Recreation Unit, she stated, "The first time I ever volunteered with Therapeutic Recreation was at a Western barbecue event at McCrae Ranch. I was a quiet and socially anxious 15-year-old, nervous to interact with participants out of fear that I would say or do something wrong. After many opportunities to volunteer in programs, she stated that she didn't just fine-tune her Just Dance skills and build quad muscles after repeating the Rasputin dance, but that she also gained a new perspective, and her volunteer service and bond with the participants has helped her grow as an individual in many ways. In addition to CRPD, she has volunteered at many mansions, Operation Gratitude, and several other local organizations. She has found a passion with the Therapeutic Recreation Unit, where she has taken on more responsibility and continues to grow as a current summer camp counselor. We are excited to watch Lauren grow as she continues her journey at the University of Georgia in the fall."
Hi, I just want to say thank you to the Wolpert family and the board of directors for this opportunity. I'm really excited to continue my involvement in therapeutics. Hopefully at the University of Georgia, where I'll be studying marketing, and I am planning on joining their programs such as the Extra Special People programs, which is similar to the therapeutics program here. And yeah, that's it.
All right, and last but not least, I would like to invite Colin Andrews up to the podium for our third and final scholarship award. Colin Andrews has volunteered about 150 hours with the Conejo Valley community through Boys Team Charity. When he is not volunteering, he is competing with Westlake High School lacrosse team, traveling, and backpacking. He was the head soccer coach and fundraising chair for Westlake High School Unified Sports Club. Over the last couple of years, Colin has been awarded the Presidential Service Award, was named to the Almar Monte League lacrosse team, and was the Ventura County Men's Lacrosse Player of the Year. Colin states that within his time with therapeutic recreation, he had no idea how deeply it would shape who he is today. He continues to state that after seeing how contagious the participants' joy is, he quickly realized it is a community he wanted to be a part of. He learned a lot about compassion, patience, and the incredible abilities of people with disabilities. They taught him to find joy in the little moments. Colin has dedicated his free time this summer to working as a summer camp counselor for the Therapeutic Recreation Unit, where he is able to continue making a positive impact on the lives of our participants. As he continues his journey to Notre Dame in the fall, he is excited to continue serving others, specifically through coaching Special Olympics. Congratulations, Colin, and we're excited to see your positive impact wherever you go.
Thank you to the board and the Wolpert family for the scholarship. Such a great opportunity. Therapeutic Rec has been super awesome for me. I started about 3 years ago as a volunteer, and I was just kind of trying different volunteer things in the community. And this is the one that stuck with me. Just the impacts of seeing the joy and the happiness that you can create for individuals with special needs was so awesome. So I stuck with that, and eventually, like Corinne said, they offered me a job, and for the last 2 years, I've been doing that. And the community at CRPD at Therapeutic Rec is awesome. I've loved it. Couldn't ask for better coworkers, friends. I love everyone that works there, all the participants. It's so much fun. So I've had so much fun doing this, and now I'm getting a scholarship for it. So thank you.
Thank you, Corinne, Skylar, and to our awardees. I'm going to offer the chance for our board to say a few words. Start to my right with Director Roscoe.
Thank you, Chair. I'd first like to say thank you so much to the Wolpert family for honoring Grayson in this way. It's really wonderful and such a lovely way to extend that joy that she brought to you guys in her life. And so thank you so much for sharing it with us. And then secondly, I just love to say thank you so much to our amazing volunteers. Thank you for blessing CRPD with your community service and for your dedication. And I wish you all the best in what you guys are moving forward to next in your future. So thank you.
Thank you, Director Buss.
I just have to say, so to volunteer for CRPD, you have to have a pretty impressive resume. Holy moly, you guys are like phenomenal. That is insane what just was up there and saying, like, all of you. You should be so proud of all the incredible, because I know that's really hard work. I mean, a 4.5, I don't even know how you get that. But seriously, and Emerson College, I wanted to go there for film, so I think that's awesome. You're gonna have so much fun. You're all leaving California, but I hope you're coming back. So congratulations to all of you, and you're very, very impressive, and I think it's awesome that you have dedicated your time to special needs and to our community. It's huge. So thank you so much, and thank you so much for sharing this wonderful opportunity for the whole community and for them.
Director Huffer.
Thank you. First, I'd like to commend the Wolpert family for establishing this wonderful program for recognizing our volunteers and helping the recognition with the annual scholarships. I know given the cost of education nowadays, every little bit helps, and certainly what you're doing to contribute is wonderful. And I'd really like to thank all three of you volunteers. The hundreds of hours that you've put in, and not just with therapeutic recreation, but throughout our community. It's without the volunteers, not just those who volunteer with Park District programs, and I know there are dozens or hundreds who do that, but throughout our community, without volunteers, much of what we enjoy our community wouldn't be possible. So it's wonderful that in addition to maintaining your grades and participating in extracurricular activities. You find the time to help others and to contribute to our community. So thanks to the three of you for everything that you have done, that you will continue to do, and best of luck in your future.
I'd like to echo my congratulations to all of our awardees, but again, start with the Wolpert family and thanking you for your contribution. I mean, what started as a tragedy for your family has now become a blessing for our community. And, you know, while these individuals certainly recognize it, it's separately, you know, I just see that as from a board perspective, that we get to be part of that. And none of us really did anything to deserve that. So thank you for that. Now I know Corinne and the team that she's part of here within the community with, you know, our general manager and all of our staff. I know it's just maybe a part of what we do, but it's such an important part for our community. I mean, we've heard time and again how the therapeutic group here is really recognized throughout the region with what's provided. And this is the type of thing that helps. And for the three of you, I mean, you know, as Director Buss said, I mean, gosh, you know, if we could pick volunteers, it would be like, yeah, we want that type of volunteer. You know, you got to have a 4.5 or close to it. You got to be going to college, and you also have to be coming back because we'll be expecting you to be working for us soon. You know, we do need more assistance over here. But congratulations on your accomplishments individually throughout your school. Thank you for contributing to our community and choosing the therapeutic program and CRPD to be a part of that. That just makes our whole community enriched. And while you've all, you know, commented about how you appreciate it, how you've been, you know, blessed by being able to engage with these special folks, you know, we all are blessed because of what you have done. So thank you for that. And I'm sure we'll be hearing more stories about you wherever your endeavors go, because I have a feeling that this isn't going to be the last volunteer effort you ever make. That you're going to be that type of people to just continue. But thank you for giving some of your time to us. You're not obligated to give any more, but we would certainly appreciate whatever you can give. But I know the people that you did share with are totally appreciative of your efforts. So thank you so much. And best of luck in your futures. As you know, I'm sure you're packing bags and heading out, but thanks again for your time. And thank you again for the Wolpers. Yeah, we'll do a photo. Yeah, we're going to have the family and also our awardees come up. We'll have a group photo.
That was like my dream when my dad like
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I know when I went to college in Ohio, I had a lacrosse team, and probably 2/3 or 3/4 of the players were from the East Coast.
Of course. No, no, no. No, it's all, it's all. Okay, thank you for that. That was fantastic. All right, next is items from the public. I have no cards here. Do we have anybody online that happens to be waiting to speak? Okay, thank you. All right, next is approval of the agenda. Do I have any changes, or if not, a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you.
I'll second.
In a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're good. Consent calendar, we have the minutes and the warrants. Any comments or changes or corrections, or if not, a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you very much. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. Deferred matters, we have none. Items for discussion, we have none. New items, 9A, if our Madam Secretary, if you would please read that into the record for us.
Yes, it's item 9A, which is amendment number 1 to the contract for drought response and irrigation improvement services at various park facilities.
Thank you very much. Director Mooney, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chair Nichols, members of the board. Before I kind of get into the business side of this item, wanted to kind of give some background about this item. So we do have a brief PowerPoint to kind of talk about what does this contract do, what type of projects are we doing, and kind of sharing a couple photos of some things. So this has evolved over the past 10 years. We had huge change in our park system with the drought, right? So 2014, 2015, drought reductions came down from the state. And so us being a good standard of a public agency, but then also just from a park and horticulture caretakers, right? Of grass, trees, plantings and everything. We created kind of an annual drought fund, if you will. And so that's why this contract was developed back in 2016, because one, there was a need. We were doing a lot of work because of the drought, and this was in response to the drought, but then also forward thinking, because that became part of our DNA of a district and of a grounds division and just parks in general. But then with the factor of getting rebates, getting outside funding to be able to do more, right? And then we've also implemented landscape standards over the years. So like this is a picture of Page Lane Neighborhood Park. Well, the standards that helped develop that park were what we were doing for the 5-10 years prior. And we were testing things out, seeing what plant material works, seeing what irrigation equipment works, all that type of stuff, right? So we've kind of worked it into our DNA, and then that's what this contract does. It's drought response, it's irrigation improvements throughout the park system for efficiency, so we can save water, make sure we're putting water down in a proper way, but then also being able to still provide the beautiful park system that we have here. And then something it comes and goes cycles, right, with fires, but in the past 5 years, we've had quite a bit of local fires. We've had concerns about different things through whether it's open space, but in our developed parks as well over time. And so firescaping has been something that we've been working with. We have gotten some fuel modification grants recently. So we've done some work at Safeway Trails, as you're aware, as well as work at McRae. But now there's other interest and need and awareness from the general public, but also our partners in the fire department. Say, hey, is there a way for us to continue to improve our park system? Just like the traditional turf of the 90s, wall-to-wall grass, you're watering all this grass. Hey, look at Page Lane Park. It's a 14-acre park. We put about 2.5 to 3 acres of turf down, yet it's a great park. People love using it and all that. So it's kind of the evolution of what landscape is in a public park setting, right? And so kind of highlighting each one of those through drought response, we further addressed the non-turf areas, right? So initially we just turned water off, maybe mulched it, maybe not, or brought back changes in the irrigation system, brought back planting, whether it's shrubs, whether it's additional trees for future shade, that type of thing. And then we've also, over time, used this fund and this contract to maintain those areas. So some areas that, hey, we tried something, didn't really work out, or hey, this worked out at this park, let's implement it to these other parks throughout the system, right? As well as we looked at possible new uses. So this is kind of how this fund has developed, is because we turn the water off doesn't mean that that space isn't usable. It could be used for something else. One of the big things is walking paths. So we've implemented a lot of walking paths to the park system, and typically perimeter areas that are closer to the street or not conducive to flat grass, but it could still be used for walking path or trail. We've implemented that, as well as game areas and seating areas. So whether we actually brought in benches and tables or use boulders for kind of a natural seating or like a seat wall, that type of stuff, that's what we've been doing kind of in these drought response areas. And then working through implementing these landscape standards. So you can see a couple of these photos. There's quite a bit of work that happens. A lot of people think, oh, landscape, it's just there, right? But as you can see the picture on the left, that looks like about 8 different valves along. It's a valve manifold. So that's what turns the water on and off for all the different irrigation areas within a park. And that is a full-size male sitting in the trench alongside those. So you can kind of see the scale of it, right? So there's a lot of work that goes into kind of the skeleton, if you will, of our park system, and that's irrigation. So it's updating those things, implementing standards that we develop, and then you get the product, like in the center picture, you get the beautiful product of the parks we have. And then also additional, we have additional manifolds and work on that other picture on the right. So the goal is to kind of review those opportunities, see if we can make improvements, retrofit those systems with these new technologies that come along, and then also implement these district-wide. So we started kind of testing out fertigation tanks. So typically traditional fertilizer is granular, right? Which means you're driving a cart, driving a truck, and you're spreading. You have to kind of close down the park. You have to make sure that people are out of the area when you're doing that. At times we still do that because we're working through the soil profile with what we're putting down. However, on other parks, we're able to use it, depending on the system, as a fertigation tank. So it's actually liquid fertilizer. It's in a valve in a tank in the ground, and it's putting in fertilizer through the irrigation system. And it's small doses, but that's happening every night that it gets irrigated, because typically we're watering our parks at night just because of the use that's happening, but then also just because of the factor of it's not hot, it's not drying it up, it allows it to soak in, right, with the irrigation. But so we work that into the fertigation tanks. So again, kind of looking at new technologies, we've also implemented through this contract over the years is a master valve and flow sensor. So we're all at home enjoying off time, and there's a break, happens all the time. It could be a tiny park or it could be Conejo Creek South, and water's just pouring out, right? Well, we have systems in place where the technology is, if it's flowing too hard, it will shut down the whole system. So we've been implementing that on any new park development we do, any major renovation, or our larger parks like Conejo Creek South. We're working through and implementing those type of technologies, again, through this fund on an annual basis, right? So we're just chipping away. We're walking up the mountain as we kind of work through an aging park system, right? But that's the importance of what we're doing with the item tonight. And then kind of a new, but I wouldn't say new issue, not for California necessarily, but new for kind of developed parks is, well, can we do better? Can we reduce fuel? Can we change how we are planting, right? And so that's taking a look at standards. Obviously, not every park has to go through plan check when it gets built or when it gets renovated. So we're looking at those standards, even if we're not required to do it. We're looking at those standards to say, how can we do this better? What can we do? So we're leaning on our partners with the Ventura County Fire Department, as well as the Fire Safe Council, and looking at ideas, looking at how we can distribute the funding through this project or through this contract to be able to do more in our park system. And again, it's small renovations, small bites here and there, but then 10 years later, 5 years later, you start seeing that impact on it. And just like you guys are aware with our water bill, right? If we didn't make a change, our water bill would have been a lot more expensive many years back if we weren't making any changes. So as we, again, refining, being more efficient with what we're doing, so then we can spend money on other things to be able to provide what we provide for the community, right? And so we're taking a look at different opportunities to do fire safety improvements. A lot of it has to deal with habitable structures, and I know Chair Nichols knows more than all of us combined about fire in the room, just because his background. But it's the factor of we do have a lot of close neighbors, so we do have concerns from neighbors. And like I said, it's not just open space; it's in our developed park system. And so that's kind of looking at the defensible space, right? So how does that work? How does it tie into a park? There's some instances where it doesn't really affect it. It's, there's obviously, it's a lot about maintenance and how people are dealing with their own property, making sure there isn't wood piles and building materials adjacent to their structure within the 5 feet zone. But then as we get to the 5 to 30 foot zone, believe it or not, we are close on some of our neighbors that we might be 30 feet away, right? So we're making cautious decisions on how we're planting and how we're doing that. But then the broader, that 30 to 100 foot range, we have quite a bit of neighbors like that. So we're looking at whether it's fuel modification, whether it's when we do add plants, we're not overplanting that. What type of plants are we putting in? And then also putting in all the different technologies and stuff as we kind of work through the infrastructure, right? And then again, it's massing, right? So seeking information on, hey, how should we be spacing trees? We're not in their backyard, but we're at that 100-foot or beyond range where we want to make sure we're not creating fuel load or creating issues, right? And so with that, we would be, which we have been going the past year or two, seeking additional funding to remedy that. We're currently with my newer team, Luis and Patrick, have met with the fire department, have reviewed a couple park sites. We're looking at doing further fuel modification, but then combining it with some landscape efficiencies, whether it's the irrigation system, what plants we're putting in, trees and such. So working with them closely, and really just kind of, again, retweaking our parks and kind of making that evolution of what a park is today, right? So to the business side of it, the board approved a contract back in 23 for its drought response and irrigation improvement services. And so this is just an amendment. What I'm bringing in front of the board tonight is just an amendment increasing the funding. So as part of the budget that was approved in June, there was funding that was increased. We typically are using FS contractors on a typical basis. We did have 2 contractors that we gave a not to exceed contract to in 23. We have been utilizing FS on a more regular basis. We typically, in the beginning of this cycle, we kind of compare, we walk the properties and give design plans to each contractor. And then we work with cost, availability, workmanship, all that type of stuff. And so FS has been a contractor that I've worked with for about 10 years now with the district, and they're very responsive, very good stuff. And so basically all I'm asking the board tonight is to provide an increase of not to exceed amount for that contract. So it's all budgeted. I'm not asking for any additional funds to do this. It's more just giving me the allowance to be able to spend $325,000. Initially, it was 2 $200,000 contracts with both, similar to kind of like our tree services that I take to the board every year. So this is just landscape services. And like I mentioned, those are kind of the 3 top things that we're doing with this contract. So all the same terms as the contract prior. Again, this is just an amendment. We are in year 3 of a 5-year contract, or starting year 3 now, July 1 of 25. So we'll have 3 full fiscal years left on the contract. And then we do have a possible 2 1-year extensions on the agreement that we have. So that will just be reviewed in time. If they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, their numbers are good, and they're providing the workmanship that we require on our park system. So with that, I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Do we have questions for Director Mooney? All right, Director Huffer.
Not a question, just a comment. I really do appreciate the overview here and the review of what we've been doing, not just for drought tolerance, but a lot of different landscaping items, and to see some of the behind the scenes work that's going on is really useful. So thank you very much for doing that.
Director Buss.
Okay, I'm sorry if I'm not understanding this completely for whatever reason. It's one of those days today. So, this contract, so we're paying them and they basically are consultants. They're not physically doing the labor, correct?
No, it is a construction contract.
Oh, okay, so they are physically doing the labor for these drought tolerant projects that we have throughout the different parks.
Correct,
Okay, and we signed a 5-year contract with them in 2023.
correct.
And now 2 years into it, they're saying that it costs $125,000 more.
No, so this is a not to exceed. I am requesting ability to spend more money with this contractor to get more work done based on
Okay.
available budget. So it's not from the contractor, it's from staff
Okay.
saying we need more work done, so we want to make sure we can use this contractor for that amount.
So it's not saying their expenses have gone up that much. It's saying, hey,
Correct.
we want to do more projects. This is why I want to spend.
Correct. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
and-
what I was confused. I was like, am I not getting
And
this?
I'm hoping this
Sorry.
isn't the first time this year that I bring an amendment back. We're, like I mentioned, we're working on grants.
Okay.
And so hopefully we strike a couple of these other grants. And so I'm coming back for another couple 100,000 because we got money that we can add to the budget to get more work done. So-
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I just need some clarification.
Thank you. Any further questions? I have a couple of questions as well. With the, I just was reflecting on the North Ranch Neighborhood Park and the mulch that kind of smoldered a little bit in the fire from there. With seeing some of the mulch that's displayed, are you looking at some of those areas to say, hey, should we put down these wood chips or should we not? Because I know there's a plus side on the drought tolerant issue and trying to retain soil moisture, which is an every year occurrence as opposed to a maybe getting a fire every so often. And, you know, as long as it's not near a structure, I think mulch is just gonna smolder. It's not gonna be that bad. So is that also part of your assessment as you look at where these parks are located and where these areas are located next to structures, whether they are our facilities or neighborhood facilities?
Correct. Yeah. Thank you for adding that. So yeah, we would be reviewing any of our structures as well. So we would be hardening if, you know, whether it's moving mulch away, adding different materials like gravel or rock or something adjacent within that 5 or 30-foot zone, depending on the site conditions. But yes, that would be definitely part of a structure of reviewing a project.
Okay. And going down my list here, I know we have an irrigation technician. I don't know what his formal title is.
Exactly that. Yep.
Okay, he's a
We
retired.
are
irrigation
replacing the
technician.
position, but we're in the process. But yes, no, it's irrigation technician.
Oh, is that
It's-
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, literally.
like a month ago. Yeah, it was like last month. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a new title then, retired irrigation technician. Okay,
We will hire behind.
so, and that's part of, like, because I had the question too, is, you know, what exactly are they doing? So if the technician or staff or somebody goes out there and says, hey, we need to fix this problem, you identify it, come up with some plans, and then you pass it on to that crew and say, okay, do this. Is that kind of how it works, or they?
Depending, I think it more comes from a crew lead or their supervisor. So they work very closely. Our grounds crew leaders work very closely with our ground supervisors. And so it's more the conversation. They take a look at, hey, do we have any priorities this year, guys? What are we working on? And we already developed a priority list. And then, so that is part of park planner. So Tabitha, the new park planner, she then will coordinate with the team and saying, okay, what are the specs? What are we working on? What is the scope? And then work from that. And so some of it might be, like we might purchase materials and then our crews do it depending on the scope and scale and availability, or it's during a refurbishment where, hey, we don't want a contractor in here, we can take care of it, but we will supplement with that, whether that comes out of this budget or the general grounds budget. But then it goes from the staff working on it through the supervisor kind of chain, like kind of chain of command, right? Working with the park superintendent as well as Tabitha, the park planner, to vet and figure out what is the scope for what park site.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
yeah, and it's different for every park. You know, like I was fortunate to work on a lot of parks my first 7-8 years when I was park planner, and so it's kind of a changing process depending on the need of each park and depending on the crew and availability. So
Okay. And something I want to add, because this kind of ties into Senate Bill 499, which we've been pursuing with the California Association of Rec and Park Districts. And that bill is trying to secure funding well, I would say in advance, the way it is today, instead of deferring it as it's being proposed in the previous bill. But it also is trying to identify parks as a buffer to neighborhoods, because it's a green space. And if it's identified in our local hazard mitigation plan, then it would qualify for that. So I think the more that we can get our parks that could qualify for that and then identify them in our plan and then get grants to support that, I think would be beneficial. But I think just sending that message to our community is important, that we see parks as a buffer, not as a contributor to wildland fire. I think the more that we can do in that regard, the better off we'll be and the more comfortable they will feel about their homes next to us.
yep, definitely agree.
That's all I had. Any other further questions or comments? If not, entertain a motion. The staff has a recommendation here.
I'd like to move that we approve staff recommendation to authorize the general manager for Amendment 1 to the contract for drought response and irrigation improvement services with FS contractors.
Thank you. Do we have a second for that?
A second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. Thank you. Okay, that takes us to item 10, reports and announcements. We have a plethora of reports and announcements, A through I. These are not anything for presentation, but if there are any questions of staff, certainly entertain those, or comments. Does anybody have questions or comments? Yes, Director Huffer.
Just a comment. I mean, we see these little park dedication fees all the time. And it sort of struck me as a little odd that the dedication fee for an ADU was about the same as for a single family residence. And I don't know if it was a massive ADU or if it was a very small single family residence, but
Yeah, so this is an interesting one. If I remember correctly, this was so it's at the same property. And so they have SB9 is for additional additional single family homes on an existing single family lot. And so it's proportionate to the ADU is proportionate to the value of that primary residence. And so but this is an existing single family, it was smaller, smaller single family on a smaller lot, if I remember correctly. And then there was an ADU as well as an additional single family dwelling unit on there. So from the math and everything, it's basically another ADU because of the proportionality of the square footage and the comp price of that. So what it would demand and all that. So that's where these come by a couple times a year, and it is kind of an interesting kind of math problem, if you will, or math exercise. It's not a problem, but it's the factor of because of the scale of and the proportionality of the structures to each other, right? So
okay,
That's-
it struck me as a little unusual.
yeah.
so-
No, and to when these come through, because Luis does these, obviously his name's on it. When Luis does these, I check all of them, but then when you're like, oh, this is an odd duck, because it's a little bit different because they're putting a lot more properties on the same property, but then it's all again proportionate to the size of what they're developing. So
Okay, appreciate the explanation.
Any others? I just had a question regarding the 2025 goals and objectives. And first of all, I just appreciate the effort to keep us apprised of these various efforts, because I know they're in the background and we don't always think about them. Every now and then they pop up. So thanks for reminding us. I just was noticing on the Conejo Creek Park Master Plan that it said an initial community input survey was completed and there's going to be additional input meetings. Will these be different types of meetings or just more of the same?
Yeah.
Andrew, you can go with that one.
Sure. Yeah. So it will be, there will be different meetings. So the intent is we will be getting some initial input, just like the survey. So we got initial input. We also have had some stakeholder meetings with ETI and Los Flores Community Garden that currently use the west property. And so the intent would be that we would do kind of an initial kickoff and saying, hey, provide some survey information to the general public. This is what we're hearing, but kind of an in-person physical meeting of any other ideas, working through it. We'll probably even have like an easel with a board to be able to write down, take notes and such. And so it's going to be similar to kind of how we approached Conejo Community when we went through that outreach process over the few years, where we gotta get an initial information and interest from the public. And then the intent is that we'll build towards a revised concept plan in time, right? So we'll kind of get some initial principles or leading factors and possibly like a rough bubble diagram kind of concept idea, and then further kind of vet it and bring it back each step of the way. So like basically every 6 months or so, every 4 to 6 months, we'll probably be doing some additional outreach meetings as we kind of make progress. So
And with the outreach for those initial meetings, are you reaching out to the same population or subset, or is this a different group?
It would be, so we would be doing physical mailers like we typically do, 1,000 foot from property line. We do have an email group. We have about 2,000 people that took the survey. So we have an email group, which is great. We did additional outreach from like when we were doing our pickleball interest on the property. So we got a couple hundred people from that list as well. And we'd do signage on the property. We would probably do an ad in the newspaper, district-wide park. We want to get as much input as possible. So do an ad in the newspaper and really just cast as big of a net as possible to get as much input. So, but we were really stoked to be able to get as many people on the survey that we did, because we had about 1,800 valid survey takers, which was great. Like that's a really good number.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And the Mr. Softy truck too, to get everybody to show up.
Great idea. Great idea.
All right, that was it. Thank you. Again, thank you for keeping us updated on these. If nothing else, we'll move on to item number 11, department reports, Parks Division.
So we've made some progress at Rancho Potrero Community Equestrian Center. Our contractor is looking to finish the work tomorrow, which is great. We are looking at doing part of, you put lights in, you plug them in, you got to make sure they're working right? Especially with the interest from our neighbors and the users of the facility. So we want to make sure that as designed, they're operating right? And so next week we'll be doing a light test. So we've already sent out an email to the group. There's about 150 people that have been interested through the process. That's boarders and users of the facility as well as our neighbors. And so we'll be doing that next week. And refining it, tweaking it, all that good stuff. The tricky part is it's because it's later, the sun's going down later. I've already kind of gave a heads up warning to the neighbors. Hey, sorry, we're gonna have some lights on late and kind of do those adjustments. So then come the fall, we'll be dialed in and not have any issues with stuff like that. So we do have a handful of things in permits. We've been working with our consultants as well as working with city staff. Conejo Community Phase 1 parking lot restroom work. We've gotten some comments back. We're giving them some revisions. Skate park, we had a meeting with the consultant today. Similar thing. We've had some staff meetings with the city, making progress on that. Crawley House, the same. That's in kind of the permit process there. So yeah, making some progress so we can get some more projects going. So, but with that, I'm available for questions.
Questions, Director Huffer?
Yeah, Andrew, since I drive by there every day, just curious, go by Spring Meadow every day. And originally I thought they were just doing some re-irrigation or something, but now they're out there with dump trucks and they're digging up. Are they digging up all the turf or what exactly are they doing?
No, so we have an annual fund we put in a few years back as part of our major repairs is a neighborhood refurbishment. And so it's a flexibility account of neighborhood refurbishment might be fixing the courts, maybe adding some seating or fixing some seating, or turf as well. And we've done like walkways and other things over the years. So all of our playfields and community parks and one neighborhood park, Oak Brook, gets a refurbishment every year or possibly twice a year, depending on how we break it down. So we're basically doing a refurbishment at Spring Meadow. So the intent was that we had some coverage issues with the outdated irrigation. And so we adjusted that, ripped up the fields, obviously, and then we've been doing cultural practices on it to reinvigorate the turf, make it more usable and everything. And that is, and I'm sure you're familiar, Director Hupper, is a lot of sports groups use that because it's
Yeah.
a nice, it's
Yep.
easy access. It's a nice field. It's kind of in a little bowl, right, with a backstop and everything. So it gets well loved, we could say.
Mm.
And so, and then with having some updates needed for the irrigation system, we're taking it down, making some tweaks and really kind of getting it squared away. So yeah, and it's been, I was out there, I think like in early June is when they really kind of started heavy, when they put the fence up and everything. And so we're hoping, I think most of the work is done. So you're kind of seeing the last kind of steps of the refurbishment and then just giving it time to rest and to grow in better. So.
Okay, and are they doing that? I don't get back there or I didn't walk back that direction, but are they doing both sides of the park on the south side of the creek?
It's primarily on the north side.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Right.
they might be doing some adjustments over there, but the heavy lifting was on the north side.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Any other questions? I just had a question regarding the lighting project at the equestrian center. In our discussions with the working group, there were a few folks that were rather engaged. And I believe I haven't heard too much from them, and I think one may have moved. I'm just wondering, are you still fairly engaged with that HOA community or is it subsided? How has that been going?
They're on the email list in the
Mhm.
group, in the general group, right, of that 150. So they've been notified every update that I've been given since then. So the board awarded the contract. We've, ordered materials, started construction, all that good stuff. And they've had a couple questions. I think that came in today, maybe today or yesterday. They've had a couple questions, but it's been relatively quiet. I think it's a little bit different because of the type of facility it is versus I would be, as a project manager, interacting a lot more with maybe a traditional park, like a neighborhood park, because you kind of affect use a little bit differently. I know Brian and Sarah do a great job of talking with boarders and users and all that of the facility. But from my end, it's been quiet. So
All right.
a couple questions here and there, very supportive of the community, really excited about, hey, this is great. Can't wait to be able to utilize it in the fall, all that good stuff.
Okay.
So,
Good.
but minimal.
All
So,
right. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, if nothing else, we'll move on to item B, Recreation Division.
Thank you, Chair Nichols, members of the board. Just one additional piece of paper for your packet. You guys all got
Mhm.
the survey results from the spring survey, and overall, everything looks really great, and our team out in the field is doing an excellent job. We have a great net promoter score, which means people are telling their friends about us, and that's how a lot of people are signing up. And over 90% satisfied, and we had over an 8% response rate, which is all
Mm.
very, very good.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
with that, I'm available for questions.
Very good. Questions? Yes, Director Roscoe.
Thank you, Chair. I know we had a discussion earlier before the meeting, but I just wanted to know if you wouldn't mind sharing some information. I had asked you about the impact that our local ice raids have had on our programming, and I was just curious if you could share that with us.
Sure. Early on, before summer really got started, we had a couple of things planned. One was a field trip to Moore Park College, which specifically was for our Safe Passage kids and the other groups that
participate in those programs. We did not get enough signups. Usually we have a bus of over 50 and we had about 10 to 20 that had signed up. So we decided to cancel that. We had another program that was going to be at the teen center. It was specific for our hard to reach kids through our outreach program and also through Safe Passage. And it was going to be a 2-week camp, and we were having a hard time getting kids to commit to that also. So we have postponed that. We're hoping to do that towards the middle of August, but right before school goes back in. But we do have another program at the pool where we teach quite a few children how to swim, and they have been coming and signing up, and we have not seen any decrease in that program. So.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, Director Hupper.
Yeah, a couple of questions, Rochelle. First, I was walking around Conejo Creek North and South this morning and noticed the headline, whatever, at the teen center, that backyard concert had been canceled. Why is that?
My understanding is the folks that was going to be in the band were not able to do it. So there were some folks that we had booked that either backed out, canceled, or couldn't do it. So that's why it got canceled.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. And then at our pool, Cal Lutheran in a couple different spots is in the process of putting in all kinds of charging stations. Are those the charging stations close to the pool there going to be available for pool patrons, or?
Oh, that's the car charging. I'm like, people
yeah,
that
car
charge their
charge, yes,
phones?
yeah.
No.
No.
I'm sorry, my mind was somewhere else. Yes, those are for everyone to use. I believe. I haven't seen anything like specific. They're ones that are right in front of our
Yeah.
pool area. Yeah.
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 Okay.
I think they're up and running last time I was there.
No, the
but
ones
it
by the
might-
pool aren't yet. The ones by the
Okay.
dormitory, looks like they're up and running
Okay.
now, but
Yeah, I would assume they'd be open to all of the public.
okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thank you. I see we have no representative from the management division here unless there's a substitute. I'll pass on that one.
There's no report.
Thank you. And we'll move to the general manager's report then.
Yeah, Rochelle did a great job of channeling Melissa. That was great. Some very quick updates. We will be on a break for the next 6 weeks, I think, until September 4th is our next regularly scheduled meeting, but it won't be a regular meeting. Hopefully you've all gotten the invite and got back to Aline. It looks like we're going to book September 4th for an offsite at the Goebel Center with some normal sort of agenda activity where we have a normal meeting, but it'll be at the Goebel Center. The senior commission will be our special presentation, so that senior commissioners will be there and get to chat with us. And then we're going to try to end it like time it so we have a decent chance to walk over to Conejo Creek West from the Goebel Center, and you could drive if you needed to, but you could walk as well. And that is going to be one of those community outreach meetings at Conejo Creek West for the community with the ideas and that kind of thing. So it's kind of like a bit of a twofer evening, September 4th for our next meeting. So looking forward to that. Just a couple heads up, like us, the city is also on break and they come back, I think the last week in August, and then I believe they're going to be addressing their zoning ordinance at that time. So they're doing a very comprehensive update to the zoning ordinance, given the general plan update. So that'll be interesting to see how that's going. And I know that's a ton of work. We internally are learning more and more about Placer AI, which we are now a client of Placer AI. So we're able to do visitor counts better and better. And our analysts are all kind of rolling up their sleeves and learning how to kind of use it. And we should have some interesting information for the board in the next few months as we kind of suck all the information out of there that we can. I wrote notes next Thursday. I have no idea what I meant by that, but I have a note that says next Thursday. Oh yeah, that's true. Maybe I was going to mention that. Yeah, the four of the staff directors and I will be having like about twice a year, we go kind of away somewhere out of the office and kind of roll up our sleeves and really focus on what needs to be focused on. And subject matter this time is going to be kind of our analysts, because we have some new analysts at every level and kind of how they're fitting into the organization. But yeah, that's what we're going to be doing next Thursday. But we're going to go do it at the Oaks Mall at our space at the Oaks right there. So we have a storefront now, if you haven't seen it yet, but there's a CRPD storefront at the Oaks. It's for our therapeutic program because they need extra space in the summer. And I don't know, they don't necessarily want to broadcast, but we are getting very favorable rent from them. So we appreciate the Oaks. 40 under 40s tomorrow night. And so before we come back to our next meeting, we will all have, well, those of us going will have gone to the CSDA conference. So that's also coming up. Gonna want to do one-on-ones during our break. So I want to do our one-on-one meeting. So look for that email saying, let's try to get together. And finally, I often don't get to do a shout out to rec because, you know, Parks has projects that they get to bring to you, and finance kind of gets their big budget stuff, but summer is when rec just shines, where you look at them and you just go, wow, that is a lot. And so Rochelle and her team really are doing a lot in the summer. So spring's all about finding all the people to work and get all the programming together, but then in the summer they implement it. So Rochelle's running in and out of the office constantly, chasing down one issue or another out in the field. So but just shout out to Rochelle and the rec staff for all the work and the good programming going on out there in the community. So with that, I'm available for questions.
Any questions for the general manager? Got to put him on the spot about something. All right, good enough. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure you do.
Oh, I know the question. Are you going to be selling CRPD merch at the storefront?
I was just looking at Rochelle. Are we going to be selling merch? No, I don't think we're allowed to.
Oh.
That's funny. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, what?
That's
Selling merch at the mall?
No, it's in the open air part on the second floor. So that's like the closest reference point. It's on the second floor on the freeway
Right
side.
above the pretzel place.
Right by the pretzel place.
Oh, okay.
Right
To
above
right
the
of
pretzel
To the
place.
right of the elevator. Mhm.
Yeah. It's a good space, and we have a beautiful sign on the window, and it's really cool. It's our therapeutic program, summer camp.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, that takes us to director reports. I'll start on my left, Director Huffer.
Thank you, Chair Nichols. Not a whole lot, even though it's been a while since our last meeting. I did, since our last meeting, went to the last couple of the pop-up concerts that the city was putting on in our lovely parks. And it's a interesting mix of concerts and performers in those concerts. So it's a lot of fun. Went to the first McRae Ranch movie. Another one this weekend. It's actually done in the 2000s or something. I mean, all of these years I've been doing these old movies, and there's a movie that actually is going to have Wyatt in it, which is kind of cool. So, and then of course 4th of July, enjoyed the delicious pancakes over at Orchard and watched the athletes out swatting the balls across the fences. Great turnout for the concert. Had a lot of friends who I saw there and afterwards heard back from them, and they really enjoyed the concert. So it's nice to see the 4th of July concert getting a lot more activity. I remember years ago, it seemed like nobody showed up for the 4th of July concert, which could have been several reasons, but it was nice to see that crowd. And then, of course, the fireworks show was spectacular. And I don't know what time Jim arrived there, but it looked like he had a huge crowd, and he had his grill and all kinds of stuff set up, and it was quite a production you had going on there. So
I didn't see that on our quarterly program anywhere. Barbecue on the hill.
Yeah,
Hmm,
we had
all right.
free hot dogs. You guys gotta have free hot dogs.
Wow. All right. Thank you. Director Buss.
Okay, so yeah, I feel like I haven't been here forever. What have I been up to? I went to Conejo Valley Days. Okay, I'm, doing all the tween things or teenager, small, whatever. Yeah. So I went to that and it was great. It was it is very random to go out to something like that in Thousand Oaks and I see the most random collection of people I know. That is what I was like, wow, this is so weird. And then so one of my friends whose father was there, he always played in our rec leagues for basketball when Danny, my husband, was on one. He had been at Conejo Valley Days 3 nights in a row
Mm.
as a senior. Like just came because he lives down there and walk around and like his grandson or his grandkids were there and stuff. And I was like, wow, three nights in a row. Okay. Okay. So, but it was fun. I thought it was great. I thought it was more affordable than I remembered it being. So it really, and there was we went at night. And so there was quite a few, people there. So they had, I thought, a decent turnout. We went on a Thursday night. So yeah, so that was good. And then what else have I been doing? Oh, I wanted to report. So I went down to Laguna Niguel for ASO soccer training since now I will have 2 teams this fall. Don't talk to me about anything but soccer for coming forward. But I have to say their community center, I was like, holy moly, they must have just built that in like the last 20 years. I was like, this is what it's like, all super modern. The room we were in, the training room, was a glass walls looking out to their turf field of like for soccer, football, you could use it for whatever. They had a whole aquatic center. And it was interesting because some of the other coaches were like, wow, we don't even have a community center. I was like, oh, we have like 6 or something, but they don't look like this, but we have some nice ones. And they were like, really? And I was like, you really don't have one community center? I don't know. I mean, I don't go down to Orange County very often for training. So I thought that was pretty surprising. But yeah, so if you ever want to check out a really cool community center and you're down there, that place they did a phenomenal job on. It was beautiful. And then what else? I don't know. Just, I feel like all I'm doing is working and thinking about soccer. So that's kind of me at the moment. So, but yeah. This is funny. Okay. So fireworks. When you try to go with 4 13-year-old girls to the fireworks, I went and didn't know it closes to drive up the hill.
This hill.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I was down there and it was closed. So we literally were in the part that you can turn around down in the driveway. And then the fire truck came up because I guess there was a little bit of smoke. So my husband looked it up and that was just the call. But so that's why I missed out on your hot dogs, because they had to match their outfits before we could go see the fireworks and them do their TikToks. This is my life.
Oh my God.
Okay. I was literally like, we rode our bikes, all of us. Yeah, I was the only person who did not ride an electric scooter or bike to the fireworks. So I had my beach cruiser, which has no gears, and I made it there and it was fine and it was fun. But the kids, yeah, so we did ride our bikes to the concert at the park, but then these girls had to match to go to the fireworks. So I literally had to watch the fireworks from the bottom of the driveway. So note to self, it does close. I'd like to know what time that is for next year so I can make sure to get my children ready. I could have killed him. I was like, really? Really? So yeah, I just want to let you know if you ever,
Yeah.
I figured out that there is a wrong time to come see the fireworks on the hill. Thought that, but it was pretty funny. So that's why you didn't see me up there. I was down on the driveway watching them. It was actually a great view though.
But you probably didn't see the fire on the hill.
No, but I saw the firework going by. We actually opened the gate for them to go through. Yeah, so we were there helping out, making sure the first responders got there in time. That was it. So that's my board report. Sorry.
You didn't like call up DoorDash and ask for a hot dog from Friedel's Grill?
I had no idea. Yeah, I would have walked up there and gotten a hot dog from Friedel's Grill had I
And
known.
s'mores, free hot dogs.
Oh my gosh, see, this is what I missed because my 13-year-olds all had to match in their Brandy Melville stuff. So
Mm.
yeah, that's my life right now. Can't wait for
It's a-
16U soccer.
It's a season of life.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's hilarious. So
Thank you.
that's all I have.
Thank you. Director Orozco.
Great. Thank you, Chair. Let's see. So I don't even remember, this was back in June. I finished my 2 last CRPD site visits. The 2 were the Dos Santos Community Center and the Conejo Community Center. So I'm glad and also a little sad to be done with all of my site visits. I attended the CASA 30-year celebration, and that was also at the Dos Santos Community Center Park. I went to the 4th of July pancake breakfast and saw Chuck there. And that was really wonderful and always well put together. Um, and then one thing that I did attend was back on June 27th, and I did prepare a little bit of a statement for that. On June 27th, I stood alongside fellow elected officials and community leaders from across the county at a press conference to express our collective opposition to the recent aggressive federal enforcement actions. Together, we issued a joint statement in solidarity with our immigrant families and community members. Over the past few weeks, I've spent time at multiple community events, attending press conferences organized by Assemblymember Jackie Irwin, listening to hours of heartfelt public comment at the city council meetings, and engaging in conversations with city council members, school board members, and many others. In each space, I've heard powerful and heartbreaking stories from our neighbors and our youth here in the Conejo Valley, sharing their lived and ongoing experiences. As a member of the CRPD board, I take it seriously that my responsibility to ensure all community members, regardless of their background, feel safe, seen, and welcomed in our public spaces. While I recognize the limits of my role as a local board member, I will continue to do all that I can to support our partners on the City Council and School Board in addressing the needs of our neighbors. I'm also committed to working with CRPD staff to ensure our programs remain inclusive, safe, and accessible for all of our youth and families. Above all, I want our immigrant community members to know that I stand with you and that I'm here for you. If you or someone you know is in need of support, whether it's food assistance, legal aid, or other resources, I encourage you to contact 211 for help. I am also available for your help and questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I just was reviewing my calendar since we last met. And on June 24th, I attended the city council meeting with, trying to think who I see, Director Cusworth was there. Jim Friedel was there. Can't remember, but we were receiving recognition for National Parks Month, Park and Rec Month. So it was nice. We got a little plaque from them. It was nice to be recognized as the purveyor of parks for the community. And then on the 26th, I attended a online California Association of Rec and Park Districts board meeting. And then on July 2nd, I was up in Sacramento for the local government committee for the assembly to testify on behalf of Senate Bill 499. It was amazing to have to spend 12 hours of travel for 2 minutes of speaking, but that's the way that process goes.
But it's captured on film,
Yes,
so for all eternity.
that's right. Yes. Public record, no less. And then July 4th was at the concert. So that captures my last couple of weeks or so on Park District activities, at least. All right, so that's it. So that takes us to item 12, request for status reports and items for subsequent agendas. Do we have any such requests? Seeing none. Items from the public. Do we have anybody waiting in the wings? We do not. No executive closed session. So we will adjourn to September 4th at 4 p.m. at the Global Adult Center. Thank you. Have summer. Have a fun summer.
Yeah.